Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us. We leave the PDM conversation and allow our reporters to bring us the details a little bit later in our subsequent bulletins. But now we're going to talk about coexistence. Growth and development in many communities is an aspect that causes a lot of tension. You choose, should we develop, should we grow, or should we conserve the environment for that matter? And Uganda over the last few years has found itself in a spot of bother, especially in regard to what's happening in the Albertine region. Today I have with me David Ochanda, a Biodiversity Manager at Total Energies EP Uganda, as well as Jane Byaruhanga, the Manager Environment and Social Affairs at the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, to talk to us about coexistence and the fact that many of the issues that come up for mention on account of what is being done to the environment. Could it be destroyed? Can it be sustainable to embark on oil and gas projects while of course ensuring that the animals in the national parks and of course the biodiversity stays intact? Everything is possible. Let me begin with Jane Byaruhanga, the Manager Environment and Social Affairs at the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. We need reassurance. People are concerned. Can there be coexistence? There are so many things going on, developments in the oil and gas sector, but are the safeguards being ensured?
Yeah, good morning and thank you. Good morning, viewers. We shouldn't put ourselves at a worry. Yes, oil and gas exists and can coexist together with environmental conservation. Currently, we have undertaken a number of measures. We've put environmental and social safeguards within. Before any oil and gas project is undertaken within the country, we undertake what we call the environmental impact assessments, and these were actually undertaken for the Tilenga Project. We also did extensive stakeholder engagement, including public hearings, where the ESIA was actually translated into different local languages and disseminated to the people around. Different views were gotten and sent into National Environmental Authority, and these were actually mitigation measures we are put in, and currently they are being implemented. We have a number of tools that we have developed. One, we have the laws of the land, but also we follow international best practice. We follow the IFC principles. We have also undertaken, we have the strategic environment assessment that was undertaken for the Albertine Graben to ensure that we move strategically and also move cautiously. We have the Albertine Graben Environmental Sensitivity Atlas that was also put in place. We have environmental laws, environmental tools. We also do monitoring on a 3-tier. The oil companies undertake their monitoring on a daily basis, but also the lead agencies undertake the different monitoring intervals. For example, the PAU, the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, we monitor these operations 24/7 on a daily basis. So we have safeguards in place. We also have mitigation measures that have been put in place, and I must say that we've not had a major catastrophe happening currently, and we are not affecting the tourism at a say, because we work together with the different stakeholders, Uganda Wildlife Authority, we work with Ministry of Tourism, National Environmental Authority, we work with Forestry, so we are working as a whole firm to ensure that our oil and gas activities are not affecting their environment negatively, but rather enhancing and conserving what is already existing. Okay,
I've had reports of use of silent rigs, strict emission controls, double-line containment systems, continuous soil and water quality monitoring efforts. We're glad that is being ensured. Mr. Ochanda, yes. The interventions that Total Energies has implemented to protect biodiversity, I'm sure they are well-intentioned and well within international standards, but there continues to be concern. How are you doing it?
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers. We do recognize that we work in a very sensitive area. That's Action Falls National Park, so we put in a lot of effort to make sure that all activities that we undertake are done in a responsible manner to ensure sustainable development. Taking on from what my colleague just mentioned, the ESIA, the Environment and Social Impact Assessment, we undertook that for the Tilenga Project, and it got approved in 2019. And in that, we committed a lot of interventions that we need to put in place. And these interventions are literally the mitigation measures that help us to minimize the impacts. And one of the overall commitment we made was to leave the Marshall Falls National Park in a better ecological state than before the project started. That means better numbers of animal populations, better habitats, as well as better livelihoods of communities living around the protected area. And we follow the principles of the impact mitigation hierarchy, that is avoiding impacts where it's possible to avoid. Where it's not possible to avoid, then you minimize those impacts. There will be some impacts that will be there, then you have to restore them. And after restoration, you will still have, some impacts that may remain there. Then we undertake what we call offsets to compensate for those residual impacts that remain there. I'll give you some examples. In terms of avoidance, one key thing for us to be able to make sure that the animals still continue to utilize the park very well, we site the facilities in less sensitive areas. What do I mean? There are areas that are breeding grounds for these animals. There are areas that are watering points for these animals. And without these, the animals wouldn't really thrive well. So we make sure that while siting our facilities in these areas, we avoid those sensitive areas. Okay? Then we also do minimization. And here we have countermeasures that we put in place. Countermeasures like physical controls, abatement measures, to try and mitigate and reduce those disturbances. For example, I'll give you noise. Okay, you mentioned about the silent rig. The rig that we are using currently was designed specifically for this project because of the sensitivity in that area, and it is very silent. You can hardly tell that actually drilling is happening, not until you see components of the rig moving. Okay. Aspects of light. The light is inward and it is warm inside the well pad. So all those are ways to minimize the impacts. Then of course we have to restore. As I speak today, most of the pipeline in the park is all buried. The soil has been backfilled, the area has been backfilled, and the vegetation is now regenerating, and that is what we call the restoration. You restore it, the area that has been damaged, to as close as possible the original state, so that the animals can still continue to thrive as you also undertake your development. Of course, the last bit is the offset, where we undertake conservation actions to be able to mitigate those residual impacts that still remain after undertaking those other stages of the mitigation hierarchy. Okay.
Jane, this should be your last words, and the concerns about, he says, everything is being undertaken to ensure that especially the sound is minimal. Who helps in monitoring away from PAU? Do you have other stakeholders who are, for example, UEC? Do we have other experts who could come in handy?
Yes, in addition to the PAU undertaking our monitoring, we also have other government agencies like the National Environment Management Authority, we have Uganda Wildlife Authority monitoring. However, we also have independent consultants that do our monitoring campaign, or depending on different parameters. So each parameter has a different regime of monitoring. And on top of that, we also do our ad hoc monitoring. So we have the daily monitoring, the ad hoc monitoring. We also have other agencies working with us and monitoring reports are actually available that we always put on our website. You can always access information there on what is happening.
Thank you for talking about that. I was just going to ask about accessibility of information. When is the project effectively beginning? When do we have, we keep hearing 2027, 2020 this. When are we at 90% completion stage?
The project has actually moved quite ahead. We are making very progressive steps. I think so far we have drilled over 137 wells within the Tilenga Project. So we should be coming to first oil very soon.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be coming very soon.
Your last word in 15 seconds.
My last words, what I would say is that there is a lot that we are doing as Total Energies here in Uganda, together with our JV partners and also government, and in terms of environment, biodiversity and social programs that we've just been talking about. And therefore I encourage everyone to take part in this, take interest, so that they can come and we work together and be our ambassadors to speak about all these things that we do.
Okay. David Ochanda, Biodiversity Manager at Total Energies EP Uganda, and Jane Byaruhanga, the Manager Environment and Social Affairs at the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Many thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you too.